So as introduced, I'm here to take us on a journey back to 2022 to review the declaration from our last SADC Industrialisation Week held in Kinshasa and to assess our progress in that regard. It's a bit of a functional activity, but highly important. I think it's important that we continue to measure ourselves in terms of what we've committed to. So in August 2022, we gathered in the Democratic Republic of Congo under the theme of promoting industrialization through agro-processing, mineral beneficiation, and regional value chains for inclusive and resilient economic growth. Key topics deliberated on included promoting regional value chains in agriculture, mining, and pharmaceuticals for the industrialization of the SADC region, successes, challenges, and opportunities of regional value chains in the SADC region, development of a regional master plan as a blueprint for gas infrastructure and markets in support of the SADC industrialization agenda, prioritizing the SADC Trade and Services Protocol to strengthen services key to support industrialization in SADC, and strengthening medicines regulatory harmonization, policy coherence, and incentive frameworks for promoting regional pharmaceutical and medical manufacturing investments. Equally important topics that were also discussed included elimination of non-tariff barriers to promote regional trade, the role of quality infrastructure for local products transformation, updates on the AFCFTA and private sector participation in AFCFTA processes, the leather industry's perspective on current trade and production environments, catering for national, regional, and international markets, and the impact on regional integration and industrialization, updates on the SADC regional tourism initiatives, small to medium enterprise development, gender and youth development, innovation ecosystems in support of industrialization, 4IR, science, technology and innovation in support of industrialization, green industrialization, and the battery value chain development in Southern Africa. Many topics. The output of the SADC Industrialization Week in 2022 was a declaration intended to encourage all stakeholders, including private sector, member states, civil society organizations, academic and research institutions, and regional and international cooperating partners to facilitate and support implementation of the declaration at national and at regional levels. It was further acknowledged that there was a need to undertake the reviewed implementation of this declaration on a regular basis and to report progress at the next SADC Industrialization Week. The forum declared that there was required attention and action from all stakeholders in the following key priority areas: regional value chains, pharmaceuticals, mining, agro-processing, regional infrastructure, tourism, trade and trade facilitation, SME local development, gender and youth, SADC cross-border payment system, research, innovation, and technology development. Now, within the declaration, there must be some 50 actions identified. So in the interest of time, we obviously can't take you through all of that. There's already been some feedback provided by the director in his presentation. But for the purposes of this, I'd like to give you some feedback from a SADC Business Council perspective, which is intended to serve as inspiration of how this week's discussions can be catalytic. So with this in mind, I've just picked a handful of the actions. The first being in mining, where the declaration called for a forum of mining ministers together with ministers of trade and industry in the SADC region to be established urgently to commit to and implement a regional policy framework that will give the implementation of value chains for growth in the SADC region. I'm pleased to support that the private sector, through the Mining Industry Association of Southern Africa, a SADC Business Council member, supported by the SADC Secretariat, has facilitated the first of these engagements on the sidelines of the mining indaba, which has started to put that in a direction of travel. Secondly, on regional infrastructure, there was a call for the Regional Gas Master Plan to be presented to the validation workshop and to be further considered by the Regional Interstate Gas Committee, the SADC Committee of Senior Officials, the SADC Committee of Ministers, and subsequently the SADC Council of Ministers for consideration and approval. We're pleased to note that the Regional Gas Master Plan was ultimately endorsed by the SADC Heads of State of Government in 2023 and marked a historic milestone in unlocking the region's economic potential through strategic gas infrastructure development. This is a very important one for me personally. This is one that started as brought up by the private sector at SADC Industrialisation Weeks a few years back. And it's been a culmination of work through various partners, including SADC Secretariat, development partners, and others that have allowed us to get to this monumental occasion. It's a good example of what can be achieved through this forum. Under tourism, there was a call to finalize the establishment of a regional private sector tourism forum. Again, I'm pleased to announce that the SADC Business Council Tourism Alliance is operational and championing the tourism private sector to engage with government and support projects that address current tourism industry needs. Under trade facilitation, and particularly under non-tariff barriers, there was a call to noting that the tripartite non-tariff barrier reporting mechanism is an extremely valuable tool to address NTBs affecting trade in the region and acknowledge the capacity constraints resulting in slow resolution of NTBs. Again, pleased to note that a number of NTB awareness raising sessions have been held across various member states and sectors, which have resulted in the identification and resolution of a number of NTBs. And then finally, but not least, on trade facilitation with a specific focus on the AFCFTA, the declaration called for the AFCFTA Secretariat, member states and private sector to be encouraged to work together to improve awareness of AFCFTA implementation. Again, numerous support activities have been mobilized to raise awareness with respect of SADC public and private sector stakeholders. Please note that in the interest of time, this is just some selected updates only, and there are a number of successes that have been achieved by the SADC Secretariat and its cooperating partners. Many have been mentioned by the Director, including good successes in the SIPs, the leather and pharmaceutical value chains, the trade and services, amongst many others. Of course, there are also areas where there hasn't been any progress, and this needs to be rectified going forward by mobilizing champions and resources. In closing, we need to note that the 2022 SADC Industrialisation Week Declaration set ambitious goals, which has catalyzed actions in various areas. It's up to us to build on these foundations, turning our aspirations into tangible achievements. As we continue our discussions this week, let's keep in mind our progress, the work that lies ahead, and where we need to focus for impact. Together, we can drive SADC's industrialisation forward, creating a more prosperous and resilient region for our citizens. I thank you.